billahi minash shaitan rajim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen. Khatamin nabiyyin Muhammadin sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Allahumma salli wassalatu wassalamu ala ahli baytihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin al-ma'sumin al-madhlumin wa la'anallahu ala a'da'im ajma'in. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As we had announced, we will be discussing and reminding ourselves of the essential masails of Maha Ramadan and fasting. Before we begin, first and foremost, my apologies for having missed off on last weekend. So we start today, inshallah, and we will try and complete before the end of the month of Maha Sha'ban. And this is a two-way session. Any questions, please feel free any time to stop me, and we will try and answer all the questions, inshallah. Now, fasting, the month of Maha Ramadan, as far as importance is concerned, we will be listening to and discussing a lot of the philosophies during the month of Maha Ramadan, so we will not go there. We will look at the laws only at this time. However, just one small thing that to move forward, that it is important that we not only look at the fiqh part of it. The fiqh part is the bottom line, the baseline of what we are required to do physically, but we must not forget the akhlaqi part of the fast as well. And one of the things that is important is a person gets the reward of reciting an entire Quran by reciting just one ayah of the Quran during the month of Ramadan compared to the other months of the year. And Rasulullah Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam also says the sleep of a fasting person is worship, his silence is tasbih, and his prayers are answered and his actions are multiplied. One of the things about this hadith is that we must avoid every and any type of sin. Rather than talking about nothing or others or gossiping and all that, we should turn around and make this month a beginning of our own reformation. This is the most important part, because Allah says the goal of this month and fasting is so that we may perhaps attain taqwa. So this is very important. Now, what is the meaning of fasting? Our concentration at during these sessions is going to be on the laws of fasting and Maha Ramadan only. Fasting means that a person must, in obedience to all the commands of Allah, from the time of the adhan of Fajr up to the time of adhan of Maghrib, abstain from 8 things, which we will discuss in a moment. Now, when we say adhan of Fajr and adhan of Maghrib, then we must also look at that adhan, whether it is the ain time, if I know how to look at it. Otherwise, I take a couple of minutes before Fajr and end after for a couple of minutes after the Maghrib, so that I am safe. All my efforts that we do or that I do is, inshallah, accepted. Now, like in everything else, the most important aspect of anything that we do, any deed that we do, is the niyyah. And the niyyah of fasting is also extremely important. And there are a couple of things about niyyah that we must also bring to mind and know. First, that niyyah for a person, it is not necessary to pass a niyyah through the mind or to say that he is fasting on this day. In fact, it is sufficient for him to decide that in obedience to the command of Allah, he will not perform any act which may invalidate the fast from the time of Fajr to the time of Maghrib. So it is the state of mental preparedness that I will not break anything in obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In order to ensure that he has been fasting throughout this time, he should begin a little earlier than Fajr, Adhan of Fajr, and go on refraining from these things at least until past the Adhan of Maghrib. Now, in Maha Ramadan, one can make a niyyah every night that tomorrow he will fast, or it is recommended also that we make a niyyah on the very first night of Maha Ramadan that insha'Allah ta'ala I will fast for the whole month, and that is sufficient. Now, the last time, now say for example somebody is making a niyyah every day, and therefore the last time to make a niyyah is before the moments before the adhan of Fajr time. Before Fajr time gets in, one must make a niyyah of fasting for a conscious person. However, say for example somebody did not make a niyyah and went to sleep and did not wake up before Fajr and woke up after Fajr. As long as he has woken up before Zohar time, he can make his niyyah and that will be valid. But if he wakes up after Zohar, then in that case he will have to abstain from food and drink and everything that is required for the rest of the day, but it is recommended that he will also do his qadha for it. Should also give, it is not recommended, it is wajib to give qadha of that day. If you miss the niyyah after and you make your niyyah after Zohar, then you will have to give qadha. It is not ihtiyat-e-mustab, sorry, my mistake here. Now the 8 things, if there is anything, please stop. Stop me and we'll discuss that matter before we go forward, there is no problem. The 8 things that we should refrain from, which are haram during the day when we are fasting, is eating and drinking, having sexual intercourse, masturbation, which is self-abuse or resulting in ejaculation for men, based on ihtiyat-e-wajib, ascribing anything. Now this is something very important, and we will discuss this when we get there, is based on ascribing any false things to Allah, Rasulullah, and the 12 infallible Imams, saying that, oh, Imam Baqir al-Islam has said this, or Rasulullah has said this, or the Quran says this, without firm knowledge is going to may invalidate our fast. Now there are rules to this and we will come to that inshallah. Then swallowing of thick dust, whether it is a dust of an allowable item or not allowable item, both will go in the same category. 6th is remaining in janabat, haiz or nifas for women till the time of Fajr prayers, meaning for the month of Ramadan we must be in a tahir state where required, and whence required before Fajr begins. This is also important. Inserting enema with liquids, getting enema also breaks the fast, and vomiting intentionally. Unintentionally and involuntarily is allowed in the sense it does not break the fast, but intentional vomiting is not allowed. Now when we look at the part of niyyah, one of the things that is required, and this is just a reminder to all of us, is that we should have that niyyah within us, not necessarily saying it, but within ourselves, that we are in a state of fasting. If one makes, according to Ayatollah Sistani, if one makes a slightest notion to himself, oh, I'm too tired today, let me open, or for any reason something attracts me and I want to eat, that I will pay qadha for it or something like that, and then even if one does not do it, you will have to give qadha for it. You will stay hungry for the rest of the day, but you will have to give qadha for it. So the niyyah and continuity of niyyah during the day is also very important. Now when it comes to eating and drinking, If a fasting person who is aware of the fact that he is fasting intentionally eats or drinks something, then it is fast becomes batil. However, if he eats or drinks something forgetfully, he did not consciously did not realize that he is fasting and drank something, water, or ate something which was lying there, and then realized, in that case the fast is valid. However, the moment, immediately, and there is without any lapse of time, one realizes that he has made a mistake, he should throw away whatever remains in his mouth. That is also important. If a fasting person intentionally swallows something which had remained in between his teeth, his fast will also be batil. That is intentionally, if something remains behind in the teeth. Swallowing saliva does not invalidate the fast. Even if it is collected in your mouth, sometimes we get a lot of saliva because of thoughts or because of sour taste and whatever. Even then, it's swallowing of saliva does not invalidate the fast. There is no problem in swallowing phlegm, which is what we call balgam in our throats, but provided it does not reach our mouth. If it reaches the mouth, then you have to throw it out. But if it is within, and if it goes in or you swallow it, there is no problem. Injections, intravenous drips do not invalidate fast. So there is no problem with that. Provided the medicine, even if these drips or injections are energy or glucose saline drip, meaning even if it is for energy, you are taking an injection, it does not invalidate one's fast. A spray that is used for asthma or does not invalidate a fast, provided the medicine only enters the lungs. The pump that those who have this problem, they take, that does not invalidate the fast, it is okay. Applying medicine such as drops in the eyes or the ears does not invalidate the fast, does not make the fast batil, even if the taste reaches the mouth, the throat, does not matter, it is okay. Eye drops and ear drops are okay. However, if medicine that is applied to the nose, it does not invalidate a fast as long as it does not reach the throat. So nasal sprays also, which are to open up our nasal passages and all that, is okay. There is no problem as long as it doesn't reach the throat. Now, a person cannot break his fast because he feels weak. Generally, when we are fasting, sometimes we do feel weak, especially in the heat that we have here in this part of the world. However, if his weakness, it does not constitute that we are allowed to break our fast. If his weakness is to such an extent that normally it could not be endured, I just can't bear it, then in that case there is no problem in breaking the fast and then giving its qada. Just breaking like that will constitute a kafara, and we will come to the masails of kafara as we go along, but this is the basic requirements of eating and drinking. Again, if there are any questions or if I am not clear, we can clarify, there is no problem. Sexual intercourse invalidates the fast during the day, even if the penetration is just simple and was only up to the point of circumcision, also it just invalidates the fast, even if there is no ejaculation. Masturbation for man is with the intention, with allowing semen to be discharged, his fast will be batil, even if he does not. Any form of self-abuse, Involuntarily, if it discharges, then there is no problem, it does not break the fast. Even during the day, if there is an involuntary discharge, there is no problem. A fasting person intentionally indulges in courtship with his wife, even if it is a halal thing that normally, with his wife, with the intention of ejaculation, then the fast becomes batil. However, if he is doing any form of courtship with his own spouse without the intention of ejaculation, and in the event he is confident that he has itminan, that he will not ejaculate, he has the power to hold it, that he will not ejaculate, but does happen, and he does, I mean, it's human, then his fast is valid. However, if he is not confident that he will not ejaculate and does ejaculate, then the fast becomes batil. So this is all an individual level. But any form of self-abuse or courtship with one's spouse is going to invalidate the fast if it is intentional for ejaculation. If it is not intentional and it does happen, then the fast is valid. Now, coming to the ascribing false items to Allah or Rasulullah or the Aimma alayhimus salatu wasalam, if a fasting person intentionally ascribes, knowing that this is not an ayah of Quran or hadith of the Aimma or the Ahlul-bayt alayhimus salam, and ascribes it falsely, whether he does this verbally, in writing, or by even making an ishara, a sign, and even if he immediately says, I have made a mistake or I have lied, repents, then based on ihtiyat-e wajib, his fast is batil. So these are very important aspects. Many times we want to throw an ayah of Quran, or we want to say, oh, Rasulullah said this, or the Ahlul-bayt said this. We have to be very, very careful about this during the fasting period. Though this is not only for fasting, we have to be careful throughout about saying these things. If I don't know something, I'd rather keep silent and find out about it rather than just saying whatever comes to my mind. The same applies based on recommended precaution to ascribing something false to Janab Fatimatul Zahra salawatullahi wasalam alayhi, and to the other prophets and their successors also. So this is across for all these Masumin that we have. If someone quotes something as the word of Allah, Rasulullah or the Aimma alayhimus salam, with the belief that it is true, he believes himself that is true because he has learned or something, and afterwards realizes that what he did or said was not true, then his fast does not become batil. When I said it or I wrote that down, I believed that it was correct. I knew for certain that it was correct, but then it turns out that what I said was not correct. Then in that case, the fast is not batil. Now we'll do one more thing. Time is up. Before we close today, unless there are questions, we can answer questions. Causing dust to reach the throat. Now it could be a thick dust of flour that we use to make our bread and everything. Or it could be just dust from the soil, which is haram to eat. Both ways, whether it is edible or inedible, both ways. If allowing it to reach the throat invalidates the fast, and this is something that we have to be careful. Causing dust that is not thick to reach the throat does not. Normal pollution levels, normal, I'm not saying excessive, that is okay if it reaches your throat. And the ihtiyat-e wajib is that a fasting person must not cause the smoke of cigarettes, tobacco to reach his throat. This is for us smokers especially, who try and twist things. Oh, I'm just smoking for fun. No, during Maha Ramadan and fasting, it is not allowed. You should not allow this smoke to get in. So unless there are any questions, please feel free. It's fine. Then we can continue the other parts next week, inshallah. Ji, ji.
I may have missed your beginning is the niyyah of the fasting.
Ji.
We can do starting of Ramadan for the whole Ramadan.
Yes.
Or we don't need to.
Then you don't need, you don't have to do it every. Yeah, no, you don't have to. Once you have done it for the whole month, unless you become sick in between or travel in between and it breaks, then when you get again to start, then you will make the niyat again, inshallah. But otherwise, you don't need to make a niyat every day. Once you have made it, it's okay. Let me also say we will talk about the Yawm Shak and everything later on, inshallah. But you cannot make a niyyah of the fast of Maha Ramadan if Maha Ramadan has not entered. We can only make the niyyah after we know that it is Maha Ramadan, not before. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين رحم الله من قرأ سورة المباركة الفاتحة